Am I being unreasonable with this difficult situation with sister and nephew? I feel really bad even writing this, but I am finding my 4-year-old nephew absolutely impossible to be around. His behavior is poor. My sister must be struggling, says she isn't and it's all normal boy behavior but it's not. She often will say he's only 4. When he was she used to say he's only 3. It's having a huge impact on my family's relationship with her. For example, it was my son's birthday, who has ASD, and we were all eating birthday cake round my parents. My nephew grabbed my son's cake off his plate, put it in his mouth, and then spat it out on my son's plate. I said that's disgusting, don't ever do that again. My son was in tears about it as he hates any form of contamination if his stuff. My sister then said I was wrong to say anything to nephew, as he's only 4, and it was only a problem because my son's autism. I'm not being funny, but anyone regards of needs would have been bothered about that happening to their food. We've now been asked about Christmas plans, and I just don't want to be around my sister and nephew. He constantly breaks things on purpose and laughs, hits everyone, shouts and screams when told no by parents as my sister never says no. My parents are struggling too, as they don't like their things getting broken. If I ever mention anything to my sister about his behavior, she becomes extremely defensive. But I just can't stand their company at the moment, and I feel terrible for saying that. Not sure what to do further, but limiting contact seems for the best at the moment. Yes, my parents have spoken to my sister about putting boundaries in as school will be difficult for him. He punched a preschool worker in the summer, and she was dismissive of that, saying he's only 3, he wouldn't have meant it. She just said he's only 4 and told me off for saying anything rather than anything to her son. He then turned and smiled at me. He does this often when he knows he's done something bad, and his mum has his back when other family members have tried to say no or don't do that to him. My children and husband sigh if they hear he will be at my parents'. They are pretty much always round there. We have started to invite them here instead and do events separately, whereas we used to do everything together, but we had too many days ruined by nephew being so badly behaved and my sister doing nothing. Yes, I think it is going to have to be a wait until she's ready to do something. I have spoken to her before, but she just gets super defensive. Her relationship with my dad isn't as good as it was because she says he's always telling my nephew off and it upsets him. My dad and mum are now arguing because my mum wants peace, but my dad just doesn't let really bad behavior go. He's but a shouty person, but he will confiscate items from him or take him out on a reluctant walk rather than doing what he wants when he's round there. My children are junior and start of secondary, so my sister thinks I've forgotten EHAT, it's like to parent little ones. We don't ever invite them over anymore. I didn't make an announcement, but just won't have them round as nephew broke my son's guitar before we could move it out of the way, and just don't want our stuff broken and launched. I think maybe I will suggest a light walk or something like that and just stay at home at Christmas and see in-laws and my parents separately. Dad is around but works a lot. He unhelpfully finds his behavior hilarious and has taught him to say I will punch your lights out and other such things. That is one of the problems. I have to secretly plan things with my parents because she's always round there, and I mean all the time, and expects to be invites to everything. I think if I invited my parents round only it would cause too much friction and drama. Every year we have always gone round my parents for Christmas dinner, and we go round my in-laws for Boxing Day and 27th. My sister also always is there on Boxing Day, and they have their own traditions they do on that day, so also feel like Boxing Day is off limits without drama. I'm thinking maybe a Christmas breakfast round our house and then spend the rest of the day at ours in peace. I just don't want the day ruined. Last Christmas it was difficult, but as he was a year younger I hoped things would improve, but they've just got a whole lot worse. My children are sick of having to give in to everything because they are older even if they are not the ones doing the wrong thing. Hope you are enjoying today's video from Mother's Narrative Network. Please like, comment and subscribe for more daily uploads. Don't forget to click the notification bell. I meant Christmas breakfast, just my mum and dad on the hush, just so kids can see grandparents and my mum and dad would be sad not to see us. I just can't do dinner or any evening activities. My husband and children only want to spend limited time with them as they are finding my sister really difficult to be around as well. I also am worried as one of my children has started to say, "Oh, I'm only 10," in a joking way when told to swap seats or give TV remote to nephew, and my sister gets angry. My husband says this all the time, as whenever we pop round to my parents she is there. I think she doesn't like being at home on her own, as whatever she says it must be hard work, and her husband works very long hours. They both think a lot of his behavior is really funny and will video it and share it. I just don't find it funny. Hopefully when he starts school next year things will improve. I don't think my BIL is violent to my sister at all. He is caring but finds laddie things funny and thinks it's funny when he does it. He's the one that does discipline a lot more than my sister, he just isn't around as much. He always puts him on naughty step when he hits my sister and says it's not okay to hit women and has said it's time to go home when he's broken things. It's obviously conflicting information for my nephew, as on one hand he's being laughed at for saying "I'm going to lunch your lights out" and then told off when he literally does it. My husband was really cross about this whole incident. For the obviously bad behavior and the comment on his autism diagnosis. My husband says she will use anything as an excuse rather than look at what is in front of her. My children are quite mature and are more frustrated with auntie rather than nephew. I'll have a think about whether to have a chat or not. I just don't think it will be helpful. My dad has tried and he hasn't been listened to. It's not great that it's putting strain on my mum and dad's relationship. My mum hates conflict and is just overly nice. It's interesting to hear about other families who have been through similar. Hopefully as nephew matures and goes to school things will improve. My sister just will not take on board anything negative related to her son. It's always someone else's fault, or it's his only fault. Distance is needed to avoid conflict ATM and for the sake of my family. My dad has started to organize a few things separately, so he's taking nephew to play center, the Santa stuff, and my boys 8 going to the panto. Me and my dad are on same page. I just need to accept she's not in a position to hear or acknowledge what is going on. The smiling when getting his own way or doing something wrong is something that we've all found difficult, as before when he was younger we'd be of the he doesn't know any better where, as he is signaling very clearly he knows what he's doing is wrong. However, he's a child and it is my sister that needs to do something. My nephew actually loves my boys and they had always been very patient. He's never been easy to be around, but he's ramped up his behavior and they just don't want to be around him, or have their things broken, give up stuff that they have a be jumped on and have him kicking, hitting and smacking play swords round their heads. Which is why we don't have them round, tried to have limited contact, but whenever we come round they are always there. We have even recently turned around when we seen her car in the drive. I feel bad, but also sad, because my parents was always a place to pop into. We just need to find a new normal for now. My BIL works 6 days a week and long hours. Despite what it may sound like, I do really love my sister despite her parenting choices, so all of this is upsetting for me. She has always wanted the finest things in life, and as a family they like to go on multiple holidays, have nice cars, etc. So BIL works super hard to provide that standard of living, but does mean he's absent from family life a lot. My sister works 3 days a week. Nephew does 2 full days at preschool and 1 day with my parents. My intention is not to push her out at all, which is why I will be the one not going to my parents for Christmas dinner. I would never tell someone they couldn't do something. However, I can't have them round for Christmas breakfast. I have spoken to her, offered to support. She pushes back every time, says it's normal 4-year-old behavior, and I'm being unkind for saying anything. I'm ready to support her if she wants the support. I only mentioned my son's autism as my sister did. I also said it wouldn't matter, autistic or not, no one would like their cake from their plate to be picked up, eaten, and then spat back out on a plate. In the circumstances, I am annoyed that my sister did not say anything, and I was doing the right thing telling my nephew not to do that. Which is essentially what I did. I'm not sure why you think I'm not taking account of my child's needs. It's not a nice thing to do, and you have to learn that it's not nice, or you will do it again. I was annoyed that my sister said he's only 4, because that is what she says all the time, no matter what the behavior. When he's 5, will that be old enough to know not to spit food, punch and hit? How will children learn things aren't okay if they're not told? Completely agree. I wouldn't have expected her to tear a strip off him, just as you do what's right and wrong and not blame someone else, or use age as an excuse. When I have had nephew on my own to look after, he is much calmer and is easier to be around. It's just he's always with my sister round my parents, and he's very different. Nephew prefers not to be looked after by myself and my dad, and prefers to be with my mum if he isn't with my sister. Thanks for the replies. I think space for now, with the door always wide open if my sister wants to speak or needs anything. I will try again, but I need Christmas to be calm. I take what you say on board and will think more carefully about what I say next time. I didn't raise my voice or say it aggressively at all. I was shocked, to be honest. It was disgusting, and that is a word he understands. I don't want him to do it again. My nephew hasn't been diagnosed with anything. I have had this conversation with my sister, as one of my children is autistic, and I know it can run in families. She was very defensive, said definitely not, he's a normal boy. All I know is that both my children, one ND and one NT, I still both, when things were right and wrong, and I would correct undesirable behavior. I've been there through some really hard times, but always expected respect. My sister may decide there is something more to my nephew's behavior, but until she starts setting boundaries, it is hard to know what is going on. As said previously, I will always be there for my sister and help her, but when she is refusing to engage in any discussions, I need some space at Christmas in particular. At the end of the day, it's my sister's choice on how to parent her child, not mine, but it doesn't mean I can't find it all frustrating. I'd love to be able to go to my parents' house with my kids on my own, but that can't happen, and I have to accept that, so is why I am thinking of how to manage a way forward. I hope it will improve, because I love my sister and nephew, and we've always been a really close family. We have always been round my parents quite a lot and would pop in. They've been retired for 10 years now, and so have always been around. When I say my sister is round there all the time, I mean all the time. She even asks when my parents are going on holiday, and books a holiday for the same time. My dad comes to our house when he goes for walks. My mum has always liked everyone to go to hers, as she loves hosting and they have a big house, so it's more comfortable for everyone, and just kind of became the thing to do. I will invite my parents round mine more. We're a really close family, so I would never go no contact. I just need a little space and break, as the behavior is full on for us all. I don't think my BIL is abusive. I think he is an idiot. We are different families, but that's okay. He loves Oasis, boxing lad culture stuff, and doesn't believe in education in the same way I do. He works hard and gets a decent wage from putting in the hours. I think he wants my nephew to be a little mini lad for the camera. Like videoing him saying stuff, or singing Wonderwall with sunglasses on type stuff. Not my scene, but it doesn't mean he's violent. If I thought for even a slight second I'd be doing something as would my parents. No, she has never paid for anything that is broken. He's broken my mum and dad's television, chucking items at it when my dad turned a TV program off, and many other things, but the TV was the worst. We hide everything now. My eldest knows to not GER his phone out at all, because that would be chucked. We don't leave anything at my parents anymore since he broke my 10-year-old Warhammer stuff. My sister blamed me for leaving stuff there and blamed my dad for turning the TV off. This is the background to what we've been dealing with. My mum and dad can choose how they deal with things, and we will just have to set new ways of seeing them until things improve. I'm hope they will in time. I wish I could say this was something I'd be willing to do, but I need to be around for my own 2 children, although older, and I'm not prepared to do this every time. I don't know why you have come to the conclusion we don't have a close relationship from my posts, as I have said many times what a close family we are. What is making the situation difficult is actually how close we are. I have said we want a quiet Christmas at home, and my mum is going to come round for breakfast. My dad has actually decided to work on Christmas Day, so that has made things less awkward that things are different to how they usually are. We didn't get together over Halloween like we usually do. My mum said my sister had said she doesn't understand why, so it is a discussion I am going to have soon. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Before you go, please like, comment, and subscribe for more daily uploads. Don't forget to click the notification bell.